Jamming with History, a science fiction, written and read by Love Living My Dreams. Officially speaking, Woman was in heaven. Dating Virgil was amazing. Everything was 10 times better now that he lived in this wondrous bliss. They weren't boyfriends officially yet. They were still jokingly arguing about what counted as their first date since they'd both secretly been trying to woo the other for a while now. It was fun and light, and Roman didn't even care that they hadn't held hands yet. They'd cuddled a lot and gone on a few dates organized by both, and some a few brief kisses. And God, he wished Virgil didn't have a swimming thing today, so he could take him to the charity event his parents were taking him to. It was for cancer research, and Roman kind of got why Virgil didn't want to risk stealing the show for himself. Still, Roman really wanted to bask in Virgil's presence for a bit longer before spring break ended. People at school should be used to them dating by now. The tabloids sure had been sharing their relationship plenty, but that didn't guarantee that they wouldn't stare or whisper. Both Virgil and Roman had gained a lot of followers and had fun gushing about one another being cute and perfect on their platforms. Roman wanted to make it official, but he didn't want to push either. He promised Virgil once, shortly after he'd agreed to go to prom with him, that they would take things at Virgil's pace, and not faster than that. After that, he hadn't mentioned it again. Virgil showed he cared in his own ways, and Roman had a feeling that Virgil was waiting for something to take that next step and make it boyfriend official. Roman could wait. Are you ready, darling? His mother asked with a gentle knock on his door. Coming, Roman assured her as he fixed his hair one more time and headed out. You are glowing, darling, but I don't think that's due to your dashing outfit, his mother teased. Roman just smiled. He couldn't deny that. Well, let's go, his father announced. We can't be late. He winked, and he led Roman and his mother to the limo waiting for them. Tio Felipe and Tia Veronica were waiting for them, dressed in clothes inspired by fantasy royalty. Roman wished the themes of today's kind of parties were always so whimsical. His mother and aunt looked like they were having fun in their ball-worthy gowns, and while his dad was trying not to show it, he looked just as pleased as Tio Felipe acted to be dressed like a fairy tale prince. Roman wasn't trying to hide anything. He was happy as can be with his regal attire. The reds and golds were everything to him. Still, he wondered what Virgil might be wearing right now if he'd come with them. His mother had already stolen Virgil away to talk about some options for his prom outfit. Both refused to share any details. The only clue Roman got was the conspiratory grins they exchanged and how they seemed to find his questions about the outfit entertaining. He was in for a treat. What kind he was not sure. Roman, are you going to be daydreaming about this boy the entire party? His aunt wondered teasingly. Roman just blushed and righted himself. Sorry, Tia, he muttered a bit flustered. It's all right, darling. You are young and in love. I know you think I'm just an old spinster, but I've been where you are once, his aunt assured him. Roman did make an effort to pay more attention to the conversation from then on, though. This wasn't just any business function. This was for charity, and Roman's presence here had and him talking about it on his socials would bring attention to the cause so close to his heart now. Virgil had been cleared for 5 years now, so the risk of him getting sick again had gone down drastically. He wasn't due for another checkup for a little over 2 months. Virgil would likely forever need to keep an eye on his immune system, and the fear of him getting sick again would never fully disappear. But for now, Virgil was healthy. According to his doctor, he'd bounced back from treatments remarkably well. Not everyone could say they beat cancer and then went on to swim on a competitive level. But Virgil had good genes and a stubborn streak that made death itself quake in its boots. Roman smiled a little to himself. Suddenly the car stopped. Woman looked up. They weren't at a big mansion or hotel like usually for these type of events. He'd heard about this place. It had a massive water tank where film crews sometimes filmed big underwater action pieces. It was 30 feet from bottom to top and about 16 feet wide. He knew this before because Virgil had mentioned it as a cool place he'd like to visit one day. Woman felt a little guilty he got to be here without him now. Maybe he could figure out a way to get them backstage viewing sometimes over the summer. They were led to an amphitheater built around a massive tank that was filled with decorations that made it look like a piece of the sea was cut out and placed into the room. There was even a ship up on the top. Not a proper sailing ship. It was clearly only the starboard side that was facing them, was fully built. But it looked grand and very piratey. Woman knew there'd been a show of some sort. This was not what they expected. Not long after they took their seats, the lights dimmed and a young voice sounded over the intercom along with swelling grand music. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you to a land of whimsy and wonder, where the seas are wide and untamed, and sailors roam free in search of adventure. The ship was lit up, and Roman could see movement on deck, but also in the bits of water that were catching the light from the ship. He was distracted, though, by the crew jumping around the masts in daring acrobatics. He wasn't alone. The crowd let out proper exclamations of amazement as the crew practically flew across the deck. Suddenly, one, wearing an iconic pirate's hat, the captain no doubt, climbed up the mast and used a spyglass to scan the horizon. Suddenly he halted and snapped back, looking seemingly right at Roman. What's that? It looks like our daring captain has spotted himself some treasure, the announcer exclaimed. Meanwhile, the captain dropped his spyglass, climbed up to the edges of the crow's nest, and jumped. And he flew right at Roman. And as he came closer, Roman realized who this pirate was. Hi there, Quincy, Virgil greeted with a pleased grin as he held out his hand. Roman looked at him wide-eyed. You don't have to take it if you don't want to, but I do need you to come with me, Virgil offered, a little nervous. Virgil was dressed like a dashing pirate, and asking him to hold his hand while he was dressed as a prince? Didn't he know what that did to him? Roman could only smile up at him smittenly and accept the offered hand. Virgil's elated smile was everything, and he pulled Roman up from his seat and helped him onto the banister. Hold on, I'm going to click you in, and then we are going to have some fun, he muttered lowly, while the announcer spun some kind of story Roman really didn't give a damn about anymore. He felt Virgil clip some kind of harness around his torso and hips before connecting a rope to the back of the harness. It was all done in seconds. Now let's go, Charming, he winked as he pulled him in again. Close, so close. Roman was lifted into the sky and taken for a tour around the tank, where Roman could now clearly see something with a long tail swimming. A humanoid something. Mermaids? Okay, Ro, it's going to get bumpy, and I'll rely on your improv skills. Ready? Virgil asked. Roman nodded. He had no doubt he'd be safe. The ambience became a little unsettling, and the announcer drew the attention towards the water where dangers were lurking. Virgil jerked him around in time with the music as if dodging aerial attacks. Then he pushed Roman onwards towards the ship. Roman made a show of it like it made impact and struggled to get on deck. He was pretty proud of himself. Once he was there, he looked back just in time to see Virgil plummet to the water as if shot from the sky. He could just barely see that the rope was still attached to his belt. Roman could see the way the mermaids attacked Virgil, who fought back with his sword. He could hear the announcer insist that this was a terrible predicament, and that the young prince was frantic to save the suave captain when he noticed something beside him. Roman looked next to him and saw a slingshot. No ammunition, but that wasn't needed for this. He took the slingshot and fired, no following the instructions provided by the narration. This was kind of fun. The mermaid recoiled dramatically and gave up on her pursuit of the captain, swimming away, leaving Virgil to climb aboard the ship with the aid of Roman and the crew. It was so cool, Roman whispered. Glad you liked it, Virgil said as he kissed Roman's hand. The narrator told the audience how the captain thanked the prince and swore his eternal protection of the kingdom. Then Virgil pulled him close. This is where I was planning to ask you to prom. My stars. But instead, I'll ask you, do you want to be my boyfriend? Virgil squeezed his hands to convey just what he meant. Woman smiled and gave a little nod. Of course, he agreed. Virgil grinned. Great. Otherwise, dropping you back off with your folks would have gotten really awkward. And with that, he took a firm hold of Roman and jumped off the ship again, allowing him to soar through the sky back to Roman's seat. The old-fashioned air didn't even care that Virgil was drenched. It looked good on him, and he was his boyfriend now, and Roman was just elated. Once Roman was back with his family, Virgil unhooked the rope from his harness before leaping away with a teasing smirk. Had fun, darling? His mother wondered, as Roman watched Virgil join his crew in more stunts while in the water tank that Roman mermaids were performing a show of their own. Yeah, Roman smiled, still a little dazed at the fact that he and Virgil were now officially an item. The show lasted another half hour or so before the mermaids Virgil had been fighting with was pulled onto the ship, and there was now a single spotlight on her and Virgil. The rest of the crew and mermaids vanished from view. Big screens displayed the duo up close as the standard with the bell was rolled up. Virgil spoke into a microphone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Virgil Sanders, and this is Ali Verwoerd. We both survived our battle, and when we did, we got to ring a bell, much like this one, to celebrate, he announced, gesturing to the bell. But we also knew plenty people that never got to ring that bell. We'd like to ask you today to take a moment as we ring the bell for our friends and those who came after us, who never got to leave, Ellie added. Ellie, the daughter of Kurt, the man from the waffle cart. Virgil and Ellie took turns reading out names and ages and ringing the bell. It was a bone-chilling 5 minutes. Thank you, the pair said into the microphone in unison, and the crowd responded with a respectful applause. We'll be waiting for you, boys. You go with the Sanders to talk to Virgil, all right? His father told him as he pointed to a few rows below him where the Sanders family was getting up. Thomas saw them looking and waved Roman over with a sad sort of smile. This event, and especially that speech, probably brought back some bad memories. I'll see you at the car, Roman promised his family before making his way down to the Sanders family. He'd been over a few times the past few weeks, and the family was elated that he and Virgil were dating and treated Roman like family. It was lovely. Mrs. Lizzie, Mr. Howard, Roman greeted as he hugged Virgil's parents and accepted pats and handshakes and greetings from Thomas and the uncles, and also Virgil's other brothers, who'd come for the show as well. Virgil was quite excited about his little scheme, Thomas noted with curious eyes. And from the way you are beaming now, I'd say he has right to be so smug about his little plan. Christian, one of the twins, grinned. Roman blushed and nodded. Well, come on. The families get to talk with the performers a bit before things move to the ballroom at the hotel, Virgil's mother informed him. Woman followed the family to a hall next to the one with the tank in it. It was empty except for a crew and a collection of merfolk with skirts instead of tails and pirates in their costumes. Woman found Virgil still toweling his hair dry and went for a hug. Hello, Stormcloud, he muttered against his hair. Virgil chuckled, but Roman could hear the strain in his voice from him trying to keep it together earlier. Hey, superstar, he replied before pulling back and letting his family greet him in Kushite performance. Roman, meanwhile, held Virgil's hand and squeezed it every once in a while, which got him an appreciative smile from his boyfriend. Just thinking that lifted Roman's heart. Hey, Roman and I should go. Roman's uncle is going to teach me how to shake hands and loosen pockets, Virgil jested, getting another hug from his mother and a few more pats from his brothers, along with the goodbyes and see yous at dinners. Finally, Virgil urged Roman to lead him away. Apparently, he was leaving with the woman's family before heading home. You all right? That must have been intense, Roman mused. Yeah, it's just remembering the ones we lost. It's not fair, Virgil surmised. Roman squeezed his hand in sympathy. By the way, you look dashing, Roman offered, referring to the surprisingly dry outfit he was wearing. Your parents would have provided two sets so I could go to the party without dripping on the floor, Virgil explained. Woman's parents were doing their best to be supportive of him and Virgil, though they were clearly a lot more nervous about Virgil being around him now that they were an item. And Woman wasn't sure if introducing Virgil as his boyfriend today would make that better or worse. Still, he didn't care much. He'd support Virgil as he tried his hand at networking and make sure that he took breaks whenever things got heavy. He'd hold him if he needed to cry and he'd make him laugh when possible. They got this. He had Virgil and Virgil had him. Everything would be fine. A month later. This was not fine. Roman was pacing his room and was a nervous wreck. Big projects had come and gone, and finals were just about to around the corner, and he just got up into the outfit his parents designed for him. It was a nice ensemble of a white dress shirt with black pants and a red tailcoat, except the tail of the coat was not the classic split straight piece of fabric. His parents had made it so it was like a pleat skirt in the back, which fanned out every time he turned, which would look lovely while dancing. Roman's crisis was due to the fact that he was about to leave to pick up Virgil. A lovely white and lilac corsage was ready for him to give to his boyfriend, and he had no clue what to expect. Virgil was tight lipped, and his mom wouldn't say anything other than that she thinks it's some of her better work. Virgil sure felt a lot more comfortable with the idea of wearing a one of a kind garment designed by his mother now than he had back during their dinner at the Crystal Palace. So, he was in a gay crisis, and he hadn't even left yet. A crisis that was not helped by the fact that he was planning on using the L word today. Woman, are you ready? Can I come in? Woman stopped in his tracks at his father's voice. He cleared his throat. He had to pull it together. Yes, he said. The door opened. You look great, son. Though with how that boy looks at you, I doubt he'd care if you showed up wearing a potato sack, he assured his son. Roman managed a little appreciative smile. His dad walked into the room and took a seat on the bed, patting the spot next to him. The young actor sat down, hoping there wouldn't be another refresher of the talk. Big night, his dad said emphatically, eyes full of memories. You'll have many doubts on nights like this. But I find that in the midst of all those doubts and insecurities, there is one truth you must remember and be certain of, and all else will feel less daunting. Roman watched his father in anticipation now that it was clear that this was another kind of man to man conversation. That you love the person you will walk beside, and that you feel loved by them. So long as you don't doubt this, all else is something you can handle. If you do, then there is much bigger fish to fry, as they should say, his father explained. Roman nodded thoughtfully, thinking of how Virgil's laugh made him feel lighter than air, and how he gently laid his hands on him whenever he saw that Roman looked nervous. He loved Virgil, and while he wasn't sure if his boyfriend was ready to say the words yet, he did feel loved by him, and as his father had predicted, his worries and insecurities felt a bit more manageable now. It must have showed on his face because his father gave him a firm pat on the back and got up. Now, let's head downstairs. Your mother wants some pictures before you leave. Roman groaned but couldn't really help a smile. His mother indeed took a lot of pictures and hugged him and cried. To Roman's pleasant surprise, the staff had gathered to wish him luck as well. Finally, Danny reminded them that the car was waiting outside. But more importantly, Virgil was waiting. The limo ride felt much longer than it could have possibly been, but eventually they stopped in front of the Sanders households. Mrs. Lizzie opened the door for him and gushed about how he looked even more handsome than in the pictures. Their moms were sending each other pictures in real time. Interesting development. Virgil, darling, are you ready? Woman's here to pick you up, she called out, smiling brighter than Woman had ever seen her. Coming, Virgil called down. Woman looked up and moments later he appeared. Woman was staring with his mouth agape, and he didn't care. Virgil was a vision in purple, his hair a darker shade than the bright in your face color he'd chosen for shock value. This one more royal purple, matching the gorgeous dress he was wearing. The main dress was a midnight sort of purple, dotted with sparkles like starlight. Around his waist was a white stroke of fabric in a lighter tone that separated the dress into chest, waist, and skirt, going round to the back. The skirt was of the same fabric as the upper bodice, with an added layer of see-through lighter purple fabric. The dress was sleeveless, held up by a thread that went around the neck and secured at the sternum, and two more where the sleeves would have been. The ensemble was finished with a one-shoulder cape. Virgil's eyes widened as he spotted Roman. He made his way down in his kitten heels and took Roman's hand in his. You look handsome, he said. I'd say the same, but that would be an insult. I have no words, Roman confessed. Virgil chuckled. Thanks, he said. Boys, Roman's mother is eager to get some pictures, so let's not make her wait to see how wonderful you two look, all right? Virgil's mother announced, already holding her phone ready. Roman chuckled and turned to the both of them. Virgil seemed to have remembered some of the stuff he'd learned from modeling as he moved through the poses and even pulled Roman in for a kiss. Let the boys go now, darling, or they'll miss the party, Mr. Howard warned with a warm amusement and pride in his eyes. Thank you, Mr. Howard. I'll have him home on time. Don't you worry, Roman promised as he let Virgil outside. Have fun, Mrs. Lizzie called after them. A woman opened the door to the limo for Virgil and they both got in. You look excited, Virgil noted as he readjusted the skirt, checking for tears in the outer layer. Roman noticed bemused. Well, I'm taking the prom king to prom. Not bad for a theater nerd. Why wouldn't I be excited? He noted, and he took Virgil's hand to calm his nerves. I hadn't been crowned yet, Virgil pointed out. And Chet really made an effort to be better and to campaign or whatever. I was a little distracted. Virgil teased with a kiss to Roman's cheek. I still think you have this in the bag, Roman insisted knowingly. Virgil chuckled and leaned into him contently. His dad had been right. This right here was the only thing that mattered tonight. They got to the event and soon were sworn by their friends, all looking fabulous and gushing about their outfits. They had a good time dancing and enjoying the snacks and talking about summer plans and college, when the teacher tapped on the microphone on stage and cleared his throat, causing everyone to look at him. Dear students, I know you all would like to get back to the party, so I won't give a big speech on the weight of this occasion. You'll all figure that out as you get older. So, without further ado, he held up an envelope. I have the two chosen prom royals right here, he said, as he tore it open with a reasonable amount of care and retrieved the card. And the winners are, he said as he read the names on the card, Serenity and Virgil, come retrieve your crowns. The room erupted in cheers and applause. Roman pushed Virgil forward along with the rest of their group and just barely caught sight of Chad, clapping along with the rest of the crowd, though not as enthusiastic as the rest. The lost stung, but he seemed to be willing to accept it with grace. Good for him. Virgil made a little bit of a show of it as he was crowned, but conceded to the microphone to Serenity to give a little speech to give thanks to the friends and the memories. Virgil's eyes found Roman's and didn't let him go for even a moment. Congratulations, you two. Now go get your partner for your coronation dance, the teacher insisted. Virgil didn't miss a beat and headed straight towards Roman, grabbing his hand and pulling him to the center of the dance floor where they gently swayed along with Serenity and her new boyfriend. So, is it everything you hoped? Virgil grinned. You're here. That's all I need. Roman smiled as he spun Virgil around, making his date laugh. Nervous for the summer? Virgil wondered as he pulled in some clothes again. More nervous for the fall. It's going to be a rough ride. College? Without you? Roman mused sadly. Had gotten a sports scholarships and to an art program in another state. Woman got accepted in a business course with a minor in performing arts, a little closer to home. I told you I haven't decided on that yet, Virgil insisted. It's a good school. I'd be upset if you picked the same college just because I went there, Roman insisted. It's not the only good school making offers, Virgil argued. Roman couldn't help a proud smile at the idea of schools fighting over the right to educate his boyfriend. And I don't know if I want to go somewhere where my admission is dependent on me winning races. Too much pressure, he argued gently. Woman hummed and let them in a twirl. Promise me you won't factor in where I am in your decision. We'll make it work, he whispered softly as he brought Virgil in close and whispered in his ear, I love you. And that won't change with distance. It won't change even if you don't feel like you are really there yet. That's not why I said it. It's how I feel, and I think you should know. Know that no matter what, I love you. Virgil bowed back and kissed him, ignoring the whoops of their peers. I love you too, you idiot. I have liked you since middle school, he admitted, blushingly. Woman was a bit surprised by that. My family wasn't exactly wrong about me having a crush on Princey, Virgil added. Woman's heart leapt and he dipped Virgil down for a kiss. He loved this boy, and he was loved by him in return. Distance, college, careers, they'd figure those things out as they went on. But right now, they loved each other, and that was all that mattered. Okay, so that was it for this week's chapter. Next week, a little final extra time jump to see what the boys are up to 8 years down the line. In the meantime, have a wonderful weekend. Good luck next week, and bye.